Ah ouais, là,
ça c'est top.
Ah ouais.
Hey YouTube, so you always thought that studio portrait wasn't for you, too complicated, too expensive? Challenge accepted.
Voilà, on a la palme d'or là.
2021 finally. I don't know about you, but 2020 sometimes it was a little bit meh. But this year gonna be awesome, I feel it.
Breaking news.
Yeah, I feel it. And you know what I can feel too? Well, that a studio photoshoot always scared you. You never dared, despite the professional look it could bring to your work. Because of two big obstacles. The complexity, having to manage everything from A to Z, and the budget, of course. You need a proper location, professional flashes. That's the challenge for the first photoshoot of the first vlog of this 2021st year. Is it possible to create something good easily and cheaply? Answer: today you recognize her, we're going to work with Claire again. She's even the one at the origin of the project. She created the main outfit we're going to use and the mood board describing the shooting universe. That's why I often work with the same people again. Finding who to collaborate with, who professionally matches with you is very important. People with skills you don't have. In this case, for example, for me, clothes and costume design. Or people who are a force of proposal and bring you ideas. I will talk more about that someday, especially how to find and manage the model-photographer relationship. But for now, if you're just starting out and you don't have a portfolio developed enough to attract cool people to work with, use your friends, your family, your neighbors, your pet, or just yourself. That works too. Once the talent and the visual universe has been determined, we will take care of the logistic, starting with trying to graphically match the backgrounds and outfits at our disposal.
Ouais.
Donc est-ce qu'on commencerait pas par nos amis les fleurs et après on fait des trucs un peu pop,
Ouais,
pop.
ça je me suis dit ça peut bien aller avec ça. Le kaki avec le fond vert avec...
Ouais, et vert c'est pas mal.
The second and most important element is lighting. When I came back to France, I bought an SL60 from Godox to film my videos and have this beautiful diffuse light on my face. The irony is that the brand contacted me 3 months later to offer me to test for free the small RGB lights, then the lightsaber. I let you go and see the corresponding vlogs. For this shooting, I thought it would be more interesting to have 2 light sources, so I contacted them again to try to negotiate one for free. And they were like, yeah, no worries, you know what? We're going to send you our last baby, it's a portable studio light. So, that's the ML60. I agree, all those brands that give their products boring names with numbers and letters. Imagine the Pistolite.
The Pistolite.
Oh, the Lumigun.
The Lumigun.
Hire me in your marketing department, for God's sake. Well, let's test it. First simple setup, black background, neutral outfits, and not so bad. We're even pretty good. We've got well-managed shadows, volume in the hair. Here my light is placed above the model and very slightly to the side, but not at 45 degrees either to avoid a too pronounced Rembrandt effect on the cheek. To increase the dramatic effect, we could also try to put our light completely parallel to the model. Okay-ish, but really too dark on this side. A simple reflector would have solved this problem.
Yes.
Let's go back to the basic setup. The outfit looks really good, well done Claire. The only problem for me is the position a bit too neutral. There are not a lot of emotions in this picture. To solve the problem and have a little more storytelling elements, let's add some props, like these beautiful flowers. Far better, and I like the soft lighting. I really like the pose, the perfect position of the flowers that follow the guidelines, separating the image between shadow and light. The last broken flower that follows the parallel of the arm and indicates the reading output of the image. Yeah, I like it, and the focus management is quite correct too. In a studio photoshoot, you're not going to constantly change the parameters of your camera to adapt to the light. It's the light that you're going to manipulate to match the chosen parameters. Normally, especially for fashion, we will tend to favor the sharpness, so we're usually at least above f8. But here we want a fairly soft, fluffy universe, so I shoot between 2.8 and 4. I've already made a video where I detail a little bit more the speed and ISO management for the studio shoot. I let you go and watch, but I think that in a while I will make a complete video about this topic and show you very specific lighting setups. You're not going to miss that, are you? The other essential element is the background. You can take a white wall, that's what we did last time, but going a little further won't necessarily ruin you. You have three main types of backgrounds: vinyl and the most used ones, the paper ones and the fabric ones. Vinyl and paper are the ones that will give the most uniform aspect, although sometimes the paper can wrinkle, which you can see right away. I'm going to talk about the most affordable one, the fabric backdrops, and thanks to Random, I was contacted by a brand that provided me with a few for free. To be honest with you, I was even contacted by 3 different brands at almost the same time. Weird. So I choose one of them.
The first advantage of the backdrop is the variety you can get because you can print anything on it. I'll let you explore their website to try to find what you want for the type of shooting you want to do.
You can even make your own background with your own images. If you choose to work with fabric backdrops and this brand specifically, you can use the affiliate link in the description and even get 20% with the coupon code I give you.
We will try to find a backdrop that could match Claire's outfit, the cottony aspect and the colors of the flowers. Here we have a nice blue, a nice texture, it could work. Not bad, it's a good match for the colors, even with that touch of green from the bouquet. Actually, without it, the picture isn't interesting, and the little too sad expression of Claire doesn't help either, I guess. The other advantage of fabric is its lightness, compared to paper, for example. It allows you, 1, to change the backdrops very quickly and easily, and 2, to buy stands that don't cost anything, since, let's be honest, that's junk. I bought a cheap one found on the internet, but that's okay. The weight to support is really insignificant.
So what's the advantage of the Lumigun in the end, besides an extremely badass name?
The Lumigun.
I would say they've done a really good job at the you can take it anywhere level. Bim, everything fits in there. You don't even need to buy a real proper big light stand like for a normal size continuous light like the SL60. Better, you can also handle it by hand and try different types of lighting while shooting, see how the light reacts in real time.
Here the light is above her, and from the side we have an interesting separation between shadow and light that gives a dramatic effect, but the position of her face will, unfortunately, create a shadow that I find not very aesthetic on her cheek. It makes a bit of jowl effect. A mistake easily repaired here by focusing more the light on her face, which illuminates it more evenly. You even have a standard thread directly on the Lumigun's housing, unlike other studio lights, which allow you to use it just with a tripod, for example. But the portability comes mainly from the fact that you can use it outdoors, without the need for a main power source.
You can power it just with NPF 970 batteries, the Sony batteries you can find everywhere. As for the rest, it's a LED light like the others, very powerful despite its small shape, and then you have effects modes, blah blah blah. For be honest, I'm not interested in that.
The ML60. A light that is good to make light.
Back to the website where you have 1,000 of different backdrops, sure. But I'm a pretty classic guy, I'm going to focus on solid color backdrops instead. I choose pastel colors to give a pop side to the rest of the photoshoot. The spirit is not totally different, we're into something much more fun. Even Claire gave up her model's face like, I'm thinking about the origins of the universe, for something more smiling. The lollipop adds a little more fun, we have a rather fashion image. I'm happy with the colors of the backdrops, they correspond well to what was on the website, which was a little bit my concern, but we're good. The thing to do the first time you use them though, is to give them a little ironing stroke to make the fault lines disappear. Even if you can easily remove that in Photoshop, you might as well save yourself some more. You can also stretch the backdrop with clamps on your stands. You're not limited to one light either, you can use reflectors, or here I use my LED stick, then my other Godox, but just as a fill light, very slightly to remove some shadows. Well, now we start to be a little bit crazy, and that's cool. This is an effect that I love to do in my pictures with models who have a real mains, putting the focus on the strand of hair closest to the lens to leave the face in the blur. Unfortunately, I only could open at 2.8, which is not wide open enough to have a sufficiently low depth of field, so it's more, oops, he missed his focus, than it seems to be a deliberate intention of my part.
What should you look at first if you want to build a studio at home on a small budget? When I was working in a professional studio, we used to worship only professional strobes with tube lamps. But I must admit that I really like the result that can be obtained here with LEDs in continuous light. They're also really easy to work with.
The green color works great too with Claire's outfit and the flower stem. The only problem comes from Claire's top, which is too wide here and doesn't follow the shape of her body, and thus the diagonals that structure the image. I like the vibe of this one better, with her crazy hair. Here too I love the spirits, the leaves that create this strange parenthesis around her mouth. It's nice, very nice.
My number one advice is to focus on the light diffusing surface. Here I have a softbox they sent me. It's an extra accessory not originally delivered with the Lumigun, but indispensable in my opinion. But surely for the portable aspect, I find it quite small. I would have needed a larger model.
Or else you will have to move backward so that the light diffuses in relation to the distance to the model. But if like me you have a very small space to shoot, no choice, you need a large diffuser. For example here, the light is very beautiful on her face, but fades at the bottom of the image because the source is too close to the model and therefore not diffused enough. My two favorite images show that you can get a really cool result quite easily, especially for an improvised photoshoot with a light that I never had time to test before.
And it should prove to you that you can totally get a professional result and recreate a studio at home without a lot of expensive gears. Hey, if you want to see me trying to do another studio photoshoot without flash or color gel, it's here. I also put a video that shows you how I edit my portrait in Lightroom. Here. See you, mate! Keep on creating.
Like himself. He always kind of does like an asshole